round. We're going to cut the answers down to about 30 seconds. The goal here is to touch on as many topics as possible in a quick fashion. See some differences there, and for these we're going to move down the line and then rotate who goes first. We're going to start with Mr. Innes. Same-sex marriage is now law in New Hampshire. Would you like to see the National Republican Party change its platform from being marriage only being between man and a woman?
Yes, I think it's time. You know, here in New Hampshire, I think it's been fine. No one's had any issues with it. I think it's important to bring people into society. The Pope has said it. We can't marginalize these people. And I think it's time for the party to get on board.
Mr. Ginta.
I think good people can have a fundamental disagreement about this issue. We should respect and appreciate all different points of view. I do support traditional marriage.
So you don't see a movement on the National Republican Party, you don't desire one?
I think it's a state-based issue, and if that's going to happen, it's state by state, but I remain for traditional marriage.
Mr. Kelly, same question.
I think marriage is between a man and a woman, and they're God, and I don't think the state has any business being in it at all.
All right, Mr. Kelly, thanks very much. Let's move on to the next question, the lightning round. Mr. Ginta, where do you stand on the issue of abortion?
I am pro-life.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Kelly?
Very pro-life.
I support a 20-week ban on abortion, and unlike Frank, I believe in parental notification in the case of a minor seeking an abortion. I have a 14-year-old daughter. If she's going to the clinic, I need to know. And I don't believe that federal money should be used to pay for abortion.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, this next question for you. What do you believe the federal minimum wage should be?
About $1.50. I think that's what it was when I started. Maybe it was only $1.25.
In today's money?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Ginta.
Well, I don't favor the federal government increasing the minimum wage. What I do favor is economic growth, which is going to allow the opportunity for just about any American have the best possible opportunity for a higher wage job. Look, I've had several minimum wage jobs. It helped define who I am as an individual, helped define my work ethic, but I made sure that I moved beyond that when I was capable of doing so.
All right. I'm not sure we get an exact dollar figure there, but Mr. Innes, what do you believe the federal minimum wage should be?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think the federal minimum wage should be sort of an absolute floor, because if you think about it, the cost of living in different parts of the country vary dramatically. A minimum wage in Manhattan should be more than a minimum wage in Littleton, New Hampshire. So I think, you know, it should be a state-level decision, and I think that's where that decision is best made. It makes sense.
One more in the lightning round now. Mr. Innes, if Republicans keep the House, you think that John Boehner should keep his job as the Speaker of the House?
Well, you know, I was once asked at an event, you know, would I vote for Boehner for Speaker? And it was a pretty loaded question, and I responded I really couldn't tell because maybe I'd be nominated. I really doubt it. But, you know, I think that, you know, we don't know who his opponent would be. We don't know the makeup of the House. I think it's premature to speculate on that.
A lot of things have happened, Mr. Ginta, under Speaker Boehner's leadership. Would you think he should keep it if the Republicans keep the House?
Well, that's going to be up to the Republican conference. They're going to determine who the candidates are, and I think a lot of people in this country are looking for new leadership, and you may see that opportunity come post-November.
What do you think?
We'll see who the candidates are and who the best qualified is, but there very well may be a candidate that would replace John.
All right, Mr. Kelly.
Well, I think we got an indication of how the people think about the leadership when Eric Cantor got beat so badly. So I think, you know, the leadership hasn't done the country very well in either party. So I think there definitely has to be a change and get new ideas down there and start representing the 300 million people here that they're supposed to be representing.